So you're all for pulling out of Europe, are you?
Yeah, I think there are a number of reasons. I'm sorry, I think I've lost sound here, but I'll carry on. Number of reasons why I want to pull out of Europe. First one is really about sovereignty, and we heard about the number of laws that are passed in Europe. The fact is that something like 50 to 70% of our laws, depending on who you talk to, are coming to us from Brussels. And I have a very simple point of view, which is that, I want to have laws passed that govern my behaviour by politicians who are accountable to me and electable by me.
Really? I wonder about that when I hear it, because I wonder how much people round here, how it affects them, whether it's a faceless bureaucrat in Brussels or a faceless bureaucrat in Parliament who makes the laws. You just feel as devolved from it anyway, don't you?
Well, I don't think that's a terribly strong argument.
There are lots of people around here who feel that they're particularly well done by at the moment because the laws have been made by British politicians.
Yeah, but every 4 or 5 years you get the chance to sit down and decide which politician you're going to vote for. If they pass laws which are absolutely ridiculous, you have the chance to throw them out. You don't have that with the European Union. Simple as that.
So, sovereignty is a big piece for business for Britain, is it? What about the jobs that we heard of from there, the 360,000 jobs that they say are directly linked to trade with the European Union?
Well, there's no doubt there are jobs that are linked to trade with Europe. Whether that's linked to the European Union and our membership of it is a totally different position. We've heard on a number of occasions, if you remember back in the 2000s when we were talking about joining the euro, a figure of 3 million jobs was mentioned, which is the same 3 million jobs that seems to be mentioned now in terms of our membership of the EU. We were told then that if we didn't join the euro, those 3 million jobs were at risk. That proved to be a fallacy, and this is a fallacy. There is no doubt that jobs are linked to our trade with Europe. But we will be able to trade, if we leave the EU, with Europe in pretty much the same way, regardless of the route we choose.
Well, I put that to them earlier on, and he mentioned things like tariffs, and you'd have to pay quotas, and all the paperwork that's involved that people just don't want to get into.
Oh, there are certainly tariffs, but I mean, the fact of the matter is that as a country, we trade with the EU, and bear in mind the EU is one of those exceptions to trading blocks. It's one of those trading blocks, the only trading bloc, which is seeing its share of global GDP declining. So we're trading into a trading bloc which is actually trading downwards.
Well, for the time being, but I mean, China's on its way down, isn't it?
Well, China's slowing down. It's not stopping growing.
Japan's just introduced negative interest rates.
Indeed, but at the end of the day,
States are in trouble.
Well, at the same time, our exports to the EU are shrinking, have gone down considerably over the last 10 years. Our exports to the rest of the world, including the USA, are growing. So we're actually trading. We are a trading nation. We're a nation that was built on trade. We are trading with the rest of the world very well.
Carl, when do you want to see the referendum?
Oh, well, the referendum, I don't have any say over that. I mean, there is a lot of talk about it being in June. If it is...
What's best, an early one or a late one? Do you need to get people voting now whilst the Daily Express is still shouting, let's get out of Europe, or would you like a bit more time to convince the people who currently want to stay in?
I think the argument is progressing very well at the moment. I mean, I think in many respects an early referendum would work very well for the stay-in campaign, because there are a number of events which would possibly sway people even more in favour of leaving. I mean, we know that the EU budget talks have been delayed. What comes out of that we'd like to see. The longer that goes on, the more likely we are to see some results out of that.
Carl, thank you very much indeed. That's Carl Chambers there for Business for Britain.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.